Hi, my name is Bogdan Mustiata and I'm the developer of Fast Live Reload, the live reload framework that works with all the browsers as the advertising says. Now I'm going to demo this framework and how you're supposed to use it, and I think you'll like it. So the problem starts when you want to test some CSS or some application in multiple browsers. i8 in particular can be pretty tricky to test, especially since most of the tooling which is out there, as in I haven't found any other tooling which supports i8, it's usually designed to work with newer generations of browsers. And you might wonder, well, why do you want to be stuck in the past? Well, it's because your customers want it, for example, and that's a huge force into having a tool which allows you to develop for i8. And also it's very simple to use this tool. I want a tool which I don't have to bend my mind in figuring out how to use it. So in order to install it, it's very simple. You just do npm install globally fast live reload. And after Node crunches a bit, it will download the package and it will make the fast live reload command available. Now, fast live reload by itself doesn't do much if you start it, but it automatically has a server, for example, embedded. So if you start it, you see that it serves the current folder on port 9000. And there is some other interesting information that, for example, changes to this dot folder are being served on a different port called, which is 9001, every 100 milliseconds, being the changes monitored. Now all of these can be configured, and oops, my bad, help, yeah. And you can see in here what parameters are available. But right now, let's start with the defaults, and let's create a page which we will test in several browsers and see how we can work and optimize our flow. So on one hand, we'll just start the fast live reload with the default settings. And let's create an index page. Now this is just regular HTML. So if I'll go now to my page, for example, there is nothing there, right? So my index HTML is not yet saved. If I would save it, I would probably get an empty page, but let's add some content. So this would be a fast live reload test page and some content. Hey, the classic. Now if we reload this, we see, yeah, okay, hello world appeared correctly. Let's make it a bit more interesting and add a client script from Bower for fast live reload. Now this is also very easy to fetch. You just run Bower install fast live reload, and if you don't have Bower, it's also easy to get. It's just npm install -g Bower, obviously. And with this fast live reload, we can convince the page to automatically refresh whenever the content from our monitored folder changes. So, okay, Bower has a bazillion dependencies. I'm going to let it crunch. Meanwhile, let's add our client fast reload dependency. So, I'm going to have here the dependency to Bower components, fast live reload, client, and then client fast reload. In an actual application, I would move the script from there. Bower itself says that you should probably do something with the downloaded scripts, but for the current test it's more than enough. So now if we download it, nothing apparently happens. But from this moment on, if we're changing stuff in the page, we see that the actual page changes as well. So changes are instantly propagated to the server, and actually the clients themselves, the Firefox browser, for example, in this scenario, connects to the port 9001 in here, and notices whenever there are changes, it will get a notification back and it will refresh the page. So let's see now, for example, how this page looks in IE. I have here IE 11, IE in IE 8 compatibility mode, and IE in compatibility mode with IE 9. Let me refresh with F5, and in here we see we have the same page. Now, if we go back to our initial workspace and we change, let's say, Hello World 3, which would be the third incarnation, we see that we have our Firefox page updated, and also all the other IE pages were also reloaded. So this is pretty interesting, but what else can we do? Well, for example, we can start adding CSS, which more resembles an actual application development. So in here, we're going to create a folder first, which is going to store our CSS file. And in here, let's put our page CSS, and we're just going to do some very simple configuration. Let's say body has no margin, and no padding, and the font family, we'll go with some Arial stuff. Let's say Verdana, Arial, and sans serif. Now we have to include this page, this CSS, I'm sorry. We include the CSS from CSS page CSS, and you notice on the right side the page immediately changed. Okay, this is pretty neat. So now let's add some more functionality, and the purpose of this quote-unquote application would be to create a button which, when clicked, will just display a message, and we're also going to add a bit more styling to the hello world itself. So in here we're going to create a div which is going to hold our content. Okay, and let's put the button as well. Oops. Let's say click me. And with the ID click me. Now there is a problem because we actually want to be able to click this button and something to happen. So for this we will need some JavaScript. So let's add some JavaScript. We'll create a folder for the JavaScript, and in here it's going to be the code which we're going to run. We also have to refer to it, so let's add it in here. So JavaScript code.js, but as you notice, very likely we would want to use something like jQuery to actually do the processing. So let's install jQuery. We will install jQuery 1 because we want to support also IE8. So let's do bower install jQuery 1. Again, some crunching, and our jQuery 1 is installed. Going back to the page, oops, sorry, my bad. Going back to the Vim, we need to actually refer to it as well. So let's include it. And this will be again bower components, jQuery, and then 1 second, let's see what's in there about components. jQuery, dist, jQuery, dist, jQuery. And in our code, we need to see what's the button ID? Click me, okay. And then when we click it, it should display an alert. Hello world. Now, if everything works fine, nothing happens. The demo occurs. So let's see what went wrong. We are referring to jQuery. We're including it. We include our code. Okay, yeah. The reason is at this stage, the button is not yet created. So the jQuery selector, it's not going to find it because my script is in the head. Okay, so let's make sure this is actually included at the right time. And let's try again. Okay, and amazingly it works. What happened with our IDs? Well, they're all up to date. Interesting. And they also work. So this is basically how you develop on multiple browsers and how you test independently using fast live reload. On one hand, we're having, to recap now what's going on, we're having our server running in here, serving the content on port 9000 and the changes on port 9001, and our application connects on 9001 and updates whenever changes occur. Now, keep in mind that you can run fast live reload without the local server. The reason for it is, in my line of work, I have to do Java applications. So I have to run a servlet container where the applications are running. And when the changes are happening, I still want my browsers to automatically refresh. What I don't want, though, is to serve local files because it's meaningless. I need a servlet container. So what I can do instead is I can run fast live reload minus no serve or n, and then only the changes are going to be served on 9001. And also I can put multiple folders. For example, I'm going to put my TMP folder and also this current folder. So multiple folders can be monitored for changes, and these changes would trigger the refresh of the page if the application would reload. More information is available in README with more complex examples on how to configure, where the changes are being loaded from, so on and so forth. So yeah, my suggestion is you give it a try, and I think you'll love it, honestly. It's definitely, for me, it's a huge speed booster. Okay, that'll be it. Bye.